Warning! The following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on this show are reflective of AZ Orsini, the Chief Dave, and their guests exclusively. Seriously, guys, my dada and uncle say some pretty crazy stuff. If it offends you, go be butthurt somewhere else.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Minds, and now your host, AJ Orsini with Dave.
Hey. Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello out there. It's your boys. No, turn it off. Okay, there you go. It's your boys once again here with episode, I've been keeping count. I haven't had a choice in the matter. We are here with episode 298. And we are here to kick ass and or chew bubblegum. And I'm not alone. Dave, are you with us?
I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. I didn't hear a reaction from you that sounded like you wanted to be here. That's what it was. You said, I'm here.
No, I just want to open up this show with fuck Amazon, dude. I don't know.
Fuck Amazon.
Why it's bothering me so bad, but fuck Amazon. Let's go. Let's move on.
What? No, wait.
Amazon,
What happened? What did Jeff Bezos
Amazon
do?
Workers. No, I'm just kidding. No, but at the same time, I'm not.
The second big heel turn of the month. Oh my god. Fuck Amazon, man.
Bro, it's not that hard. Check the fucking boxes, bro. Check the boxes. It's not that fucking hard. I had 3 boxes coming. They gave me 1. Now I gotta fucking wait till Monday to get my shit, and I don't know why, but it's fucking irritating me, dude.
Oh my! Were they all scheduled to come on the same day?
Can't let it go.
Oh, nor should you.
It's a couch. It was all one. They gave me the pillows.
Oh
to the
no!
Fucking couch.
Dude.
And then Amazon dickheads are like, oh, dude, whatever, man. Fuck it. I normally just like it is what it is, but it's been fucking bothering me for like literally, I'm not even kidding, like the past 5 hours.
Was it all purchased at the same time?
It's like a fucking pit in your stomach, dude, where you just want to rage. Like I want to flip something.
Oh my god! It was all one big purchase, right? It was like you didn't buy anything separately, so they're sending you the couch in sections.
No, it was supposed to all come at once.
I know they're delivering it in sections.
I'm going to assume either the assholes didn't load it all into the truck or the asshole who delivered it didn't grab all the boxes out the truck. Because he came around the corner, like I can see it on my ring, just lollygags around the fucking corner with 1 box.
City of Champions.
For a whole fucking couch.
Oh my god. City of
Champions. I'm tilted right now. I'm sorry. I'm so annoyed. I'm just so... I don't know why I'm so enraged by this. I really want to hit something.
That's an easy one because you ordered a couch and expected a couch. That's why you're upset.
Yeah, but normally, like, I would have been over it in 2 hours. But it was dealing with the customer service. Like, this is sidetracking what you want to talk about. But when I first did the complaint, like, to customer service chat, his response to me was, how about you just keep the box and I'll give you a 30% refund?
What?
How the fuck does that help me? I said, dude, are you robbing me? And he goes, what do you mean? I was like, reread what you just said. You want me to keep 1 of 3 boxes and you're going to give me $110 back on a $400 couch? He's like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, Yo, I'm gonna go fucking nuts, dude.
Did you just charge me $300 for pillows?
Dude, oh my god. And no, to be fair.
Wait, are these cushions or pillows? These are like pillows?
No. I apologize, I misspoke because that's what my wife told me they were, but she didn't really look at it. So when I opened the box, it wasn't the pillows. It was 2 arms to the couch.
The 2 edges? Oh, man.
That's it. There's 2 edges. Bro, you keep those edges, and I'll give you a third of your money back.
By any chance, is this all like a regular couch or like a pull-out couch?
It's one of those like, it's one of those
Oh my
cheap Amazon couches, but yeah, it pulls out into like a pretty like nice square bed or whatever, and it goes back under, has a storage. Like, it's one of those cheapy couches, but it'll hold us over for now because our couch is like dead, like really bad,
There you
like
go.
really, really, really bad. So I don't know. I wanted to get it built. I don't know. I'm hot. I just ruined that whole interest, but I needed to get that off, bro. 'Cause this whole pod would have been just fucked if I didn't get that shit out. And I'm still mad. I'm gonna be pissed when we end this too.
I'm pissed now. I'll be pissed later because when it's over, I want to sit on the couch that I don't have. Oh, oh my god.
That's right.
Oh man, yeah.
Yep, you goddamn right.
We out here letting Amazon know right now.
I digress.
Putting them on notice. We're putting them on notice. Oh man. So I mean, I don't know. Should we call it a show now, or like, do you need a day? Because it's not coming in until Monday,
the
right?
The fire inside me says yes, but you know what? I'll trudge through it.
I'm gonna push through. All right. Well, let's talk about what it is we are going to talk about on the show today.
Come on, don't keep us waiting. What's going to happen on the show today?
Very simply put, we are back on the road to Game Changers. We are up to episode 5 and 6. So that's our first 2 segments. I can go ahead and just knock that out for you right now. Episode 5 being backstabbed by board games, and episode 6 we venture off into the world of Warcraft. We have a new inductee for the WWE Hall of Fame, the total package, Lex Luger. That is a controversial pick. We'll get into that. The WWE Evolution pay-per-view is being returned as a PLE. They're bringing it back. They've got a date. They've got a venue. Do they have the roster? We'll talk about that in just a little bit. And, of course, our main event, we got a chance to talk about the heel turn of the century just last week. But there was another heel turn that took place, very subtle, and then it became a very not-so-subtle thing. Of course, we're talking about the triangle between Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi. What this means, not just for the Evolution pay-per-view, but what it means for WrestleMania coming forward. That is our show for the day. And before Dave has an aneurysm, I guess we can just jump right in. If you're cool, just jumping right into it. We could do that.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep moving forward.
Let's keep trudging through. Let's get to segment 1, folks.
Let's begin segment 1.
Segment 1 takes us down the road to Game Changers, as previously mentioned, and we are off to episode number 5, which was, of course, backstabbed by board games. I feel like I was misled on this one a little bit. I was misled just a tad, just a smidge, because I was under the impression when
why you say that?
I was under the impression when it mentioned board games that we were going to be talking about specific games that may be translated into like the whole motif so far has been video games. So like this one,
I think it's more game.
Yeah, I'm starting to.
And this is games.
Yeah, I kind of got that about midway through when I realized the video game shit wasn't happening. I was like, oh, so we're taking game literally. Okay, all right. No, I just felt a little bamboozled. They did make mention that, like for instance, Monopoly is also a mobile game and a video game. So I was like, oh, all right. They tried to tie it a little bit, but nope. They were talking about board games, more specifically. How fucking disgusting, how gross, how manipulative, how seedy and evil the board game industry truly is. And I thought to myself watching this episode, is there no shame? Is there no level of pettiness human beings will not sink to? There's so much bloodlust amongst humanity. That's this. I think I said this when we talked about the other episode when we were talking about the guy who created Atari. But he was just like, ooh, I like that idea. Mine now. And we were taking hypnotized for it. This whole episode was, oh, man, what a cool idea. Gimme. Everybody ripped off everybody. Everybody cut off everybody else's balls. Everybody else took shit, and they were literally murdering people over it. That was basically the gist of this entire fucking episode. Just a lot of shit going on. But I introduced you to the man, the myth, the legend of Charles Darrow, for who in the 1930s did exactly what we just described. Saw a wonderful idea and just decided, Jesus, this is such a great thing. I have to make money off of this shit. I've got to sell this. And I was surprised to learn some of the stuff that I learned in this particular episode. More importantly, the gentleman here by the name of Ralph Anspach. He was an economics professor in the Bay Area back in the 70s, and him and his family played Monopoly, much like you and me and the rest of the civilized world, and quickly realized as he played, this is not a very accurate game. This is not a very good depiction of what actual monopolies and actual economics really should be. I did not know that he created a game called Anti-Monopoly. That was an actual board game that you could buy and play. I immediately paused the video and went to Amazon and saw that bitch on Amazon. I was like, I can buy Anti-Monopoly right now? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
How much was it?
Cheap. I think the one that I saw on you know what? Let me not speak out of school here. I think I might still have it up. I was watching them today. In the midst of all of the other millions of things that I had to do today, I always find time. Monopoly. Yes, here we go. And it was $26. The real estate trading game for the 21st century. They upped it. They made it more modern. But the original one that guy was holding, he was just like, fuck Monopoly. This motherfucker just said, fuck Monopoly. And created a game that said anti-Monopoly on it. Son of a bitch still had Monopoly on the box. What a brilliant man. A brilliant man. But he actually went to war with the Parker brothers. Well, at this time in the 70s, it was just a company by name. But the Parker brothers, George, Edward, and Charles Parker, the originators of the Parker brothers, they created games like Rook, War in Cuba, and Klondike. Basically, if there was some sort of strife in the world where millions of people were dying, they turned it into a board game and made money off of it, which is a smart boy. Lizzie McGee is our inventor here. She is the true originator of the Monopoly game, although there have been many iterations, which is another problem with board games, because a lot of these board games were created many fucking moons ago. And so they've seen many iterations. I used to make the joke all the time that when we used to go to Atlantic City, I said, oh, look, all of the streets here in Atlantic City, they look like Monopoly streets. I always thought it was the other way, that Atlantic City was naming their streets after Monopoly shit. I didn't realize that when Lizzie McGee made this game, it was very easily customizable. She didn't really sell the game. She just kind of made the game for herself and for people who had asked for it. And then there was a game, the one that Charles introduced to the world, out there for sale, when people realized we don't really need to buy the fucking game to play it. We'll just get some cardboard out, get some markers going, make our own little boxes, get some dice going. And so people just made their own little makeshift Monopolies at home. And one in particular, the Quakers, who lived in Atlantic City, they made their own Monopoly game, and they made their board game with the streets on theirs. And for whatever reason, that was the popular version, the one with the Atlantic City streets on it. I was like, that's it? That's all that it took to make that happen? But Lizzie's game was not called Monopoly. Lizzie's game was called the Landlord's Game. There was some really grimy shit happening back then. There's a lot of people, and I love.
Yeah, but hers wasn't necessarily grimy. Hers was made for educational purposes.
Yeah, it was trying to
She
give
was
you a
trying to
real
show
idea.
how money hungry people were,
Yeah, so that
or
you,
how money hungry people could be. That was like the whole point of her game.
right, and it was supposed to
teach
be
people shit.
it was supposed to be an illustration of what that's like. All it really did was give people an excuse to actually do it.
And I like the way, I think you made mention to it earlier about the anti-monopoly. I thought it was hilarious when he was like, there were two versions of this game.
Yeah.
There was a monopoly version where it's like, everyone against each other, kind of like a free for all. And there was another one that was kind of like all of us against the system and like trying to fight against it.
Yeah,
and,
sticking it to the
and they
man.
were like, nah, I'd rather be the slumlord.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with you. I want to take you down.
Yeah.
It's more, he literally said, like, verbatim, like, people found it more fun to bankrupt each other than it was to help build each other up.
Yep.
They're like, nah, fuck this.
What
I
could be
wanna
better
have
than
a-
making sure you have no money at all? Was the way that the guy.
Absolutely.
It's not so much I want to win. I need everyone around me to lose. I want everyone
Yep.
around me to just have nothing. Nothing. I wrote this down because I thought this was an interesting conversation to have outside of the actual episode, because we went through this before when we were talking again. I refer back to the Atari episode. When it came down to that argument in court about the video game patent, right? When they were having that discussion about likeness and copyrights, these board games were developed long before the Atari, like long before any of this video game stuff was even a dream. And we're running into this whole episode is essentially just wiping their asses with the concept of copyright and likeness. This is all people during Prohibition, some of which in the 1800s, where they're just coming up with ideas. And then people either just ripping it completely or doing the Manhattan Project idea. Where they go, I'll give you a couple bucks for it, so you feel like you're compensated. But these people know exactly what this thing is going to be worth. It's when people. That's like when people say, "Well, they stole the Isle of Manhattan from the Indians." They didn't steal it; they bought it. Come on. If you exchange money whilst holding a gun to someone's head, you didn't buy it from anybody. You still stole the fucking thing. I take you to this situation here. So Lizzie McGee is the one who started the ball rolling on all this. And I wrote this down because the shit was funny, the way that they painted this picture. That Lizzie McGee's father, had a strong father. He stood up for women's rights. He was anti-slavery. I like how just being against slavery at that time was like a trailblazing thing. Like it sets him apart. He stands out. All these other motherfuckers totally into slavery, but this guy saw something, This guy had a little humility to him. He's like, no, I think it's unfair what they're doing to the coloreds. He's not for it. So Lizzie didn't believe people should... Oh, yeah, that was like the lifestyle of that family. Lizzie didn't believe like people should own things. Like they shouldn't own land, things that were close to nature or whatever. And so she really didn't get the recognition that she deserved for the original concept of the game the game itself. And then I wrote this down. Henry George is another name that came up. He was an author who wrote in Progress and Poverty. It was about poverty and monopolies. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. This game is a living, breathing embodiment of what capitalism really was like at that time. It was like classism times like a million back then. Like when you were rich, every day you just got richer. And it seems like if you were poor, every day you just got poorer. It's almost like middle class didn't really exist at that time. You either had a lot of shit or you had almost literally fucking nothing.
Yep.
And people just went through that. And I wrote that down too, what you just said a second ago. The landlord's game was invented to show how terrible it was to have a terrible landlord. And for that time period, Lizzie tried to get a patent on the game, which is interesting because they said they wouldn't give it to her. Simply because she was a woman, So when she filled out her paperwork, she filled it L.J. Maggie, which is her last name. And everyone just assumed that it was Larry. I kept calling her Larry, that her name was Larry. But she just used her initials instead, and she finally got it. Many, many, many moons later. 2 rules to anti-Monopoly, and Monopoly rule set, the one you just explained a second ago. You can play Monopoly or you can destroy Monopoly. One or the other there. But the cardboard customization was hilarious because they had pictures of it. They were like the way that it was just crudely drawn, you know. And then Charles came along. He used his tablecloth. So the first Monopoly game that you can consider, I guess, official, because that was the one that sold. That was the one that was being released to the public. Was actually a circular board. It was a circle, and it had all the different attributes to it. And it was the Quakers that added. Apparently, before they added fixed incomes to the boxes, when you were landing on pieces, you were negotiating money. I can't even imagine what that would have. Can you imagine paying $1,000 in rent on Baltic Avenue? I would have swung on somebody. He's like, I landed on Baltic. I almost got Boardwalk, but I got around Go. I'm at Baltic. All right, that'll be $1,000. That'll be a who? What now? $1,000, bitch. You're on fucking Baltic. You don't own Venter or any of these high priced fucking places. This isn't a railroad. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I can see people I can see people getting stabbed over that shit. Jesus Christ, Mediterranean. So we have the Atlantic City customization made fixed numerical auctioning, and the city remains on the board to this day. So Monopoly, personally, I'm not a fan of Monopoly. One of the things I don't feel like they really hit home on for as far as this game goes, this game takes forever to fucking play. It takes a long fucking time to play Monopoly. You get 2 people playing, you might get a decent run out of it. You get 3, 4, 5 players, y'all better fucking, you're in for the night, bro. You're not going anywhere. And everyone's cheating, there's a portion of the game that's debated to this day, the negotiation part of it. Because normally you land on a piece, you give them the money that you have. The idea is that you go bankrupt, you lose. You leave the game until everybody else plays, until we're down to the 1 player. That's the rules of the game. Nobody ever plays it by the rules of the fucking game. People start negotiating. I'll give you 200 now, and then when I go around the board again, I'll give you another 200. They start like negotiating. We're never gonna end this game. No one's ever gonna go broke. Jesus Christ. Or I think you've played it this way, where there's like 100 or 200 or some sort of fucking numerical figure under the free parking.
Oh, yeah.
So you slip the money in under the fucking free parking, and then this dude is about to go broke. All he needs to do is fucking land on that yellow, and I got his bitch ass. He's done for it. He's out, and then he lands on free parking. He's back in the game. Oh, fuck. We're never getting out of here. Or the shit-talking people do when you go to jail, but they're just visiting. The demoralization of it. Like, oh, I'm just passing through, motherfucker. On my way to St. Charles Place. Fuck you. God damn, I hate that game. And listening to the way that it was created made me hate it even fucking more. For fuck's sake.
Unironically, it's funny how they pretty much damn near Monopoly gamed her out of, like, not causing a problem.
They monopolized Monopoly.
They called Big Daddy out of retirement.
Uh-huh.
He went in there.
He looked like one of those monocle motherfuckers.
This property. I'll let you sell some of your property on my property, and then I'll give you some money. Okay. Slipped her 500 bones. 500. And then literally buried her games in a catalog that no one ever saw. So it's like she was just deleted from the fucking thing, and they got everything. They got rid of the problem. They literally monopolied her out of whatever she could have had if she actually fought it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
And then we move on to another board game that I don't like. Maybe that's why this wasn't my favorite episode, because I'm just like, oh, I remember this one. I hated this one too. We move on to a colorful board filled with tiles of letters and numbers. Scrabble. Scrabble was the fun version of IQ. Apparently, back in the day, an IQ test was just loads of fucking fun. Just loads of it. Everyone just taking an IQ test. You only need to fail one of those motherfuckers to be scarred for life. And everyone just wanted to see how smart they were. And of course, my main man, Alfred Butts. Alfred Butts. Even in the show, they were like, all right, go ahead, laugh, get it out of your system. Alfred Butts was an author, and he was the main inventor of what would become Scrabble. This motherfucker took letters and was just like, oh man, we need word games. He thought that in his head. He goes, you know what the world needs? Word games. We need more word games.
Well, to be fair,
it's the time period, I know.
If everyone is talking, like, if the thing to do is be smart, what better fucking game than a game of words?
Ooh.
Why just be pretentious to yourself on a test score when you can be pretentious in front of 3 other players?
Let's get as many people into this room as possible so I can.
I want to flex this brain in front of everybody.
If my brain was a man, he'd be hung. I want to flex and let the whole world know I'm the smartest motherfucker in this room. And the guy, I say the guy, what I just said his fucking name a second ago. That's right, Alfred Butts. He had a strategy. He learned how frequent certain letters were. Like, as an example, they gave E is one of the most used letters in the entire English language, and then Z being the less frequent one. So that determined the numerical points for each tile. You spell a word with more usable more usable letters, you get a certain amount of points. If you're able to squeeze in letters with more rare words, like a Z or a Q or a W or something, you'll get some extra points. So it made it more challenging. It made it more skillful. The more words that you know, the more points that you're scoring. And if you haven't fallen asleep from that description just yet, just know that his version of the game was called Lexicos, which is kind of a badass name if you think about it. I actually liked it, but when I heard that, I liked it better than Scrabble. But, it is what it is. But James Bruno, who, I got to admit, first of all, cool name, James Bruno. Secondly, he was a farmer. He just was on a farm. It was like, hey, this game is cool. Do you mind if I sell it? And Mr. Butts was like, go for it, man. Do your thing. How the fuck did he transition from farming to game development? What the fuck is that?
That's the one thing that's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Like, to some of these stories. Like, I'm not saying the stories are, like, not real or whatever, but, like, I just find it really weird that, I don't know, I just find it really weird that, like, all these, growing up myself, I was always told, like, who cares about, like, video games are a waste of time, yada, 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 yada. But all these people who I would assume dislike gaming seems to just, everyone's thinking about games.
Yeah.
It's a weird transition of games being on top of everyone's mind in a world where games aren't like what it's just hard for me to see, like, the way games are today. It's like so popular. Then it's like you're talking about the Great Depression.
Yeah, exactly.
Thinking about video games.
Well, they weren't. During this time, they were thinking about the board games. Like they're in the middle of a depression, and they're customizing.
And that's where you said, like, your disconnect was too, right? Like, oh, you thought we were talking about game, but in the world of video games is just a genre of gaming,
right?
In general. So, but the thought that these people even had gaming on their mind is what's. Like, I'm talking long before the Blizzard days, long before that, when you're talking about the beginning of Monopoly and Operation and all that stuff, like, I'm blown away with how many game stores there were. Like, they have, like, I guess it was kind of a cross between, like, toy stores and game stores were kind of like one and the same.
Right.
They're not today, but like then they were kind of like one in the game. You can get your board games the same. There's like saw as like toys and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what this is showing me. Like when it goes so back far in history is like, dude, gaming has always been like a thought.
Yeah.
It evolved later, but like even back in the day, people were trying to go home. Like, dude, I can't wait to go home and crack open the Monopoly. Like, Monopoly,
Yeah.
the new board game just came out, dude. I got like 6 more hours. I got it early. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, I just thinking like I want to just go play Operation, dude.
Yeah, and you know what?
Imagine people be pumped.
You know what this shows me? You know what this actually not shows? You know what it proves to me? I think every generation has that group of people where they're like, games are for children. Oh, what a waste of time. Go out, touch grass, that kind of shit. What this proves to me, not shows me, but it proves to me, is something that I've always already thought. And I tell gamers this all the time. Maybe, I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe those people are full of shit. Because all of these games, they were giving you an example, like for instance, Scrabble. We're on the Scrabble portion right now. They were overwhelmed when they sold 200 units for the week. They were overwhelmed. And the farmer took a break. James Bruno took a break. He said, this is crazy. I got to take some time. He takes a week off. He comes back. There's an order for 2,500. From 1951 or 1952, I forgot what it was. They sold 200 and something, like 200,000 or some shit like that, units of Scrabble in 2 years. In 1954, they were up to 4 million units sold. People were buying this shit.
Yep.
That crowd of it's a waste of time. Oh, it's this, it's that. They've always been the vocal minority for the most part since the beginning of just civilization. People have wanted to play. Look, remember how the episode opened? We saw actual artifacts, dice made of bone, right? Like dominoes made of bone. Gaming has been around since the caveman. It's all entertainment has always been a thing. That's why I always laugh when I hear people my age who were born in the 80s. It was like, we didn't need all that shit. I didn't need an iPad. I didn't need this. I didn't need that. I went outside. I just played. Right. You didn't need it. But if you would have been born in this era, or at the very least, I know for myself, if I would have been in the backyard or if I would have been at the local playground in 1987 and somebody would have dropped an iPad on me, I'd be all over that shit. What are you talking about? It would be what I would do all day, every day. So would you. This gaming is fun. Gaming is fun. I don't consider myself a gamer, but I'm constantly playing mobile games. I'm on the Switch with my son. I'm on the Xbox for me. I'm always playing games. I play games at my job with the kids. I'm always playing games. Everyone is always playing games. So I'm never astonished when these people talk about how successful they got out of nowhere, especially when it comes to games like Monopoly, which we all know is a uber popular game, or Scrabble, which we're talking about now. I'm not fans of these games. I played them when I was a kid. I haven't played Scrabble in fucking forever, but I understand the concept of their success. Especially the last one that we're going to talk about here, which was one you brought up already, which was Operation. And just to go a little further about how some shit just happens sometime, the guy who invented Operation, John Spinello, for all intents and purposes, he might be a nice guy, but he's fucking stupid. He's an idiot. And he stumbled upon a $1 billion idea in the most imaginative way possible. Now, remember I told you before when last we spoke, the big Magnavox TVs, the big boxes, okay? This dumb shit had a TV set in his house. This was years ago, obviously, back in the fucking 50s and 40s or whatever. No, maybe even before that. But he took a safety pin and started putting that shit in sockets to the fucking TV, and he got fucking electrocuted. And when he got electrocuted, he went, I got an idea for a game. Let's slightly electrocute everyone else. And it just, the concept of the things that he was putting together and touching the metal piece and giving it a charge so that he didn't quite get to the operation part yet with the fucking body and all that stuff. But he's the one who came up with that game when you have to move in certain directions with a piece of something and then you have to do it without hitting the side. And just the whole concept of that was him. He came up with that. And they said something that shocked me. I was stunned to my core. I didn't know this, that the game operation, it's the bones and stuff like that you have to take out, and there's holes that are placed within the body of a person. The actual game board is a body of a person. I didn't know that shit had a name. Cavity Sam? I didn't know his name was Cavity Sam.
Oh, shit. No, I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
I wasn't a big player of that. I really disliked that game.
I disliked all the games that were on here. And I like board games, but none of the board games I liked were on this fucking thing. They were talking about Operation, and I hated it because the first time I ever played Operation, I was a child. And that fucking buzzer, the stress of having to get your little tiny fucking fingers in there, first of all, to grab hold of it. Because I would buzz just trying to fucking touch it. Then I would get it, and the fucking sweat and the pressure, like you were fucking taking out a bomb. That's
what it felt like.
I mean, my fucking palms are fucking sweaty. My feet are curling. I'm like trying to lift this motherfucker out of here, and I would flinch every fucking time, and my nerves couldn't take it. Fuck this game. Fuck everybody involved with this game. I'm good. It's like the game with the alligator teeth. You have to push the tooth down or it slams on your fucking hand. Like the pressure. I can't do the fucking pressure. I don't want to be in pain. And the lady in the video said it best. She goes, it was nerve-wracking because as a kid, when you would go in for the bone or whatever, and when you would pull it out, if you buzzed, that meant to you like the person died or something. You're like, God damn. I don't need that kind of pressure at the age of 7. I'm good.
It wasn't fun. I never enjoyed that game.
Yeah. And
Not
then
even for a little bit.
The big ending for John, he was promised an opportunity at the company for inventing the game. They screwed him on that. He eventually did get the job. But then he goes in there and some fucking asshole goes banana sandwich and just starts shooting a bunch of people, and then he killed himself. And then he was like, yeah, that's when I quit. It's like, no kidding, John. Go for it. I'm with you. I don't know if I want to be in the business and put motherfuckers is shooting each other in it. I'm straight.
Yeah, it's that cutthroat, man. That's what these people's livelihood, man. Even like, what was it? Not to double back again, but like the whole selling point of Monopoly, where he went to them and was like, "Hey, I have this game." Who was it? What was it? That wasn't Hasbro. Who was the Monopoly publisher?
That the original guy, Charles Darrow.
No, the who was the?
The publisher. That was Milton Bradley.
Milton Bradley. Damn it! So they were like, "No, fuck off." You know what I mean? Like, we don't want this.
Yeah.
And then they told the story out like they were at the point of pure bankruptcy, and they saw that this guy made changes and that he was actually selling them after he made the changes, and they're like, all right, we'll do a deal. Like when he came back to them, it was like, yo, do you want to do this? And it's like, but I say all that to like that's a point to the shooting thing. Like, these are these people's way out of this depression.
Yeah.
This is peak. Like, people's families are losing everything. People have no jobs. And meanwhile, you have these 1 or 2 people who, like, they even made mention that people always say that depressions only affect the poor people, not the big companies. Especially like during COVID, they're like, oh, like the big companies will eventually make it through. The small companies are getting buried. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the big companies can just coast through it, and then when it spikes back up, they're off to the races. They're good. Even here, they're like, no, even the big companies were like pending going under. Like, that's how bad it was. People needed something, and they saw the guy was making sales, so it was like, all right, fuck it, we'll give you a shot. And that people, like, if they weren't getting their way or they see that they were losing their opportunity, that's why it didn't surprise me. The guy came in and just fucking probably got wronged in some way, shape, or form, came in, fucking lit them all up, knew his life was over, and just took his. And oddly enough, looked at that guy and was like, no, you're good, bro. And then just like walked off. Yo, me, I'd be like, all right, that's a sign. I'm just gonna go home. I'm packing up.
I'm good.
Do something else. I'm gonna do something else.
I am good. I am absolutely good. So that was the board games. Not my favorite episode, but that's okay because in episode 6
it was a little boring.
Yeah, and you know what? We were saying that before when we did the Atari episode. It was like I enjoyed the history of that, and for this one, I was just like, didn't strike me the same as the other one did.
But I'm not a huge board game person.
Yeah,
I think if I was, I would have been interested in the history. I'm just kind of like indifferent. Like, it was cool, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like the episode was way too long. I think if they would have done multiple board games and not just 2 board games, like I felt like they spent too much time on just 2. If they would have talked about other ones and how they intertwined, I think it would have been a little bit more interesting. But we were just talking about the 2, and I eventually got tired of it. I'm like, dude, when is this shit over, dude? What's the next thing?
Yeah. Well, the next episode was not only back to the video game, but quite possibly the video game that changed it all. The next step in the evolution of the video game. Let's get into that.
Next up, segment 2.
I want to take this second to sound really smart.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm going to sound really smart. I'm going to sound really cool. I'm going to sound really edgy right now. I'm going to take this opportunity. It's been a long time, but I finally found out what an MMORPG is. Finally. Learned
You've only been around it for half your life.
I know it. Massively multiplayer online role-playing game.
I feel like you just read that off the paper.
No, I just read it right now, yeah, but I learned about it yesterday, actually.
You read it off the paper. You didn't memorize it. You just read it off
Oh,
the
there
paper.
was no need to memorize. I'll probably never say that phrase ever again in my life.
No effort.
I probably will never say that sentence again. But, you know, it's funny. I don't do it myself, but I have such a large appreciation for it. Because I could just tell by looking at games like this that it has to be fucking maddening to put some shit like that together. Not just to put it together in the first place, but actually have it sell. Because there are some games that were created in that genre that didn't go anywhere. I can't imagine putting that much of your life into something and people just look at it and go, it's all right. And then you just move the fuck on. As soon as the episode starts, I thought to myself, because this is more your world than mine, but I looked at the very, very beginning and I went, see, I kind of got that vibe. As soon as they started mentioning tabletop games, right off the gun, I said, I don't even know why you mentioned tabletop games when you really want to mention the tabletop game. And as soon as they said it, like shortly after they mentioned it, Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. If you're my age and you don't really play video games, but you see something like Warcraft, you think of Dungeons and Dragons. You don't entirely know if they're connected, but that vibe is there. So you've
never played Dungeons and Dragons, have you?
Yes, I have. It's been a very long time, but yes, I did. I used to play it a lot.
Blown away by that.
Yeah, I used to play it a lot because my friends, when I used to visit my friends in New York, they played. So I want to say like sometime in the late 90s. Yeah, a couple times.
Never fucking told me.
My you were younger. So like my trainer for when I pledged them the Pioneers, which inside baseball, but it was just a summer program for the youth, something for them to do. It was like a summer camp type deal, and the person who was in charge of the group, his name was Sherrod, which I never thought I would say on this podcast ever. It took 298 episodes to say it. But Sherrod was a huge Dungeons and Dragons guy, and huge to the point where, like, he would we're the kids, right? And he wasn't that much older than us. He was maybe like, I say like 19 or 20, and we were like 13, 14, so like 5 years apart. But he was like really into it to the point where like he would throw little lines out, just like, you know, just make little jokes. And I didn't know at the time what it was, but a couple of my friends did, and they were picking up on that. And they're joking back and forth. Next thing you know, he's like, yo, you know, when this is over, y'all want to go play for real, like play a game. I'd never played before, and I ended up playing, and I had fun. I came back every time, especially since the drinks kept coming. Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. So, yeah, I played a little bit. So I got an idea of kind of like the gameplay, like how it's supposed to kind of look, but I've never really played, A, consistently, and B, I think I played with a bunch of people that were playing, like, fun-wise. They were just, like, goofing. I was never in a room with, like, a serious D&D sesh, you know, where, like, everyone's got their fucking shit out. You know, the arguing is there. Oh, man, just, like, the pressure. I needed 18 or above. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never really been, like, in that setting. I've seen it on the television. One of my favorite community episodes is the Dungeons and Dragons episode. Still to this day, fucking top tier. Because in that episode, I'm Chevy Chase. I'm the guy who's just like, can I do this? Yes. Then I choose to do this. And it's the stupidest fucking thing that you could possibly do, but fuck it. I want to do it because I can. It's part of the game. So, like, but to take it back to the video game, that's the vibe that I got the first time I ever saw you play it. Because they were saying names that I don't know, like games that I don't know, but I remember seeing them because you had them. Like you know, when they were talking about all the different games that were transitioning from one to the other and expanding, which was another thing, Blizzard Entertainment. When he said Blizzard, I remember the logo. Almost instantaneously, I remember the fucking logo. Then they showed it shortly after, but I remember just games, just seeing you with the fucking games and with that logo on them, and it just took me back to a fucking time. And I'm watching him with I watched a little bit of it with my son. He wasn't paying too much attention to it, but it's on. And when Warcraft came up, he would take a look, and Diablo would come up, he'd take a look, and he would just peeking his head up, and he's looking at him, and he's just like, that's interesting. I was like, don't get lost in this, kid. I'm telling you, this is not a
change your life.
This is a dedication that you need to be ready for. You can't just sit here and do on and off because his attention span is short. I said, brother, this is a lifelong commitment. You don't understand. So at the very top of it, obviously, got to start with the big names, right? Alan Adham, Mike Morhaime, however you pronounce their names. They're the founders of Blizzard Entertainment, or as they called it, Silicon and Synapse. And that became Chaos Studios, all of which met their demise. Silicon was just a dumb name. They just didn't like it. Hard to pronounce, hard to spell. Chaos, they got sued. They got cease and desists from other companies using the Chaos. And then it landed on Blizzard. So you're more into this than anybody that I know. I mean, we're here at the beginning of the episode. Was there anything really in here, in this episode, that really, like, shocked you? Like, anything new that you really didn't know before you watched this?
How fuck it they were about it.
Oh!
Not in a sense.
It was driving me insane.
Not in a sense of, like, we don't care about this. In a sense, like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I kept hearing the phrase, I don't know how to do that.
Yep.
Over and over.
Boy, if I would have seen this documentary when I was younger, I think that would have had such a huge impact on me now. That would have made my life see the world so differently if I would have, like, known that when I was younger. It's just so much less pressure. Like, you mean to tell me these guys just said, I want to make a video game? And they're like, I don't know how. Just like, but dude, we could figure it out. Like, who fucking cares?
Can I be the one in the room? Can I be the one in the room? Am I the only one that just kind of I rolled my eyes. Just the fucking privilege of it. right? Because
I thought of that too.
Because in the right in the beginning when they were students at UCLA, and I think it was Alan who goes, I knew immediately right after college I wanted to start a video game company. And I was like, okay, there's a dream, right? What kind of person who's into games doesn't want to own a company? And he's like, yeah. So when college was over, I already had $11,000 saved in my college account. I'm like, you did 4 years of UCLA and you had $11,000 left in your pocket when you left school? Were you not hungry ever?
Some people make the right decisions.
Some people make the right decisions, fair. But if you're going to college, forget college. I went to college. I didn't go to fucking UCLA. I would assume a bag of chips on campus is $10 each. He didn't spend any fucking money at all to have $11,000. How much was the tuition?
Full ride.
Full ride to skip classes? Because he's also telling stories about, well, that one class. What was it? He said I had an AI class. He had an AI class in the fucking 80s and 90s.
That's AI then. People didn't take it that seriously.
He said, I had an AI class and it was so dry, I just left. And just started playing video games. And they were just like, yeah. Oh, what he said? We wanted to start a video game company, but we didn't know how. So we found Frank. He's like, wait, what? What is happening? They were so cavalier about just fucking It was almost as if there was never even a thought of what happens if this fails. There was no panic. There was no, we have to make this work. It was just, meh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. It was like, yeah, well, these guys clearly know what they want. They don't have the pressures of, I wouldn't say financial pressure. That's unfair. I'm sure they obviously wanted and needed money, but they were just allocating their money to the things that they want, and they damn sure didn't have enough of it to do what they wanted. They still had to figure it out, but it was like they were committed to what they wanted to do, and they were in a position to be able to focus their life on it rather than having to worry about things just other pressures in life, having debt. I'm not saying they were debt free, but I mean, it obviously wasn't.
Yeah, they made mention of actually maxing their credit. Yeah, so trying to pay the employees.
I mean, they had a good enough credit to have enough credit to pay their staff with their credit.
Exactly.
So they weren't
long enough to recoup the money.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. It just made me think about fuck. Dude.
They were so behind the eight ball on how to make video games that they actually showed us in the documentary the books that they read to figure it out. It was a Cliff Notes book that said how to make Nintendo games. They read a Cliff Notes book. How to make Nintendo games.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I think it said video games for dummies.
Yeah.
Nintendo games for dummies.
Oh my God, the super fan.
I think that would be the equivalent of watching YouTube, right?
Yeah. There was another portion that kind of... Remember how a second ago you were some of these stories, I'm not going to say they're fake, but at the same time, some of the dots don't really connect, and how it kind of is confusing to hear. So they told a quick story. They worked with Davison and Associates, which was a software company at the time. They even threw out the big name game that they had, which was Math Blasters. I played that in school. I loved Math Blasters. It's the only time I ever loved math. I just wanted
some of the games that they did actually kind of was a little shocking.
Yeah. So Davidson and Associates were working with Blizzard, or Chaos at the time, into trying to create more games for for them and the PC era and the floppies and all that stuff. They were trying to create these games, but they were spending more than they were making. They were not doing well. Was the company? So Davidson had offered to acquire the company. They said, "We'll buy the company. We'll give you guys X amount of money," which on paper sounds like a good deal because they're hemorrhaging. And for whatever reason, they were both like, no, we're good. Because, as Alan put it, The only thing they really didn't like about the deal was the fact that they would be owned completely and they'd have their hands in the pie, and they want full autonomy. They want creative control. They want to be able to make the games that they want to make. Which
It's so fucking ironic.
It makes sense to a degree. That part makes sense. I can see why you wouldn't want to sell your company to somebody else. Come hell or high water, sink or swim, I'm going to stay with my company because I just want the freedom to do what I want to do.
I want my vision.
I get that, right? What I didn't get was that a few months later, with no change at all whatsoever, there was no last-minute success, there was no spike in the meter. They're not only in the same place, they're still hemorrhaging. Out of nowhere, Davidson comes back. It says, we'll give you the autonomy. You can still make the games you want to make, giving them everything they want to have. Plus, we'll double our money. We just really want to acquire the company. And then they said yes. And then Alan says, I don't know why they offered it. We weren't really doing anything, but they came back with an offer and we took it. And they
literally just had to wait him out a little bit.
But that's what I'm saying. I paused it and went, that's a great question. Why the fuck would they make that deal?
You know why? And here's my thought, because I'm glad you brought this up to remind me, because I did want to talk about this. I think that the other people were hemorrhaging harder. And that the only people that were really bringing them success probably was them. To the point where they're like, all right. Like, we want you on board, whatever, right? Like, something to that. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because they literally just had to probably wait a month or two more. And they would have got them for free.
They had they probably would have scooped them up in some sort of an auction somewhere. But, they made the offer, and it didn't make sense. It was like, you made a good point. We don't know the other side's financials, and one man's hemorrhage is another man's bleed out. We don't know.
Yep.
But it's the only way that I would see that you jumped on a boat with a hole in it is if your boat had two holes in it. So I guess that would make a little bit more sense. But but the funny thing about that is if that's true, they did a really good job of hiding that from the other company, because it seems like the other company had no idea why this offer was even on the table, but they took it, which was smart. They did wait it out, and they did wait for the autonomy, and they got it. One of the big breaks they had with this newfound relationship was a video game, Dune and Dune 2, which was the big break, but obviously based off of the original films, not the current ones, which, by the way, the original film and the current films, I still have not seen, so I don't know anything about those. But hugely successful was Dune 2. And they broke out the acronym RTS, Real-Time Strategy Game. And I was like, okay, so all right, real-time strategy game. And they were trying to explain it to me. I didn't get the layman's term, though. Like, what is the difference between that and the role-playing?
What, an RTS and a role-playing game?
Yes.
Like an RPG or an RTS?
Yes.
An RTS... Have you ever seen StarCraft?
Yes.
Okay, that's an RTS.
Okay.
So it's real-time. It's literally you're controlling a bunch of units going on. Think of a map. You have a vision of the map, right? So like your screen shows you, your camera is showing you a section, almost like a zoomed in portion of that map, right? And then there are things happening around the entire map, but you can only see what your camera is on, and for some games what you have vision on. And it requires you to take units and build it to the point where you can take over something, right? Like the challenge would be go to the base and take over their base or destroy their base. And the real-time strategy is I'm navigating resources, building units, and then strategically moving those units throughout that map. And now I have to move my camera from my units that are moving amongst the map while also keeping an eye on my resources, while also defending the units and my base.
Oh, okay.
So you don't get to zoom out and see it all, really. You have to move your camera around. So it's literally just real-time strategy. If I send my unit across the map, it will start to walk across the map, and then I can go look at other things, and then I can go and check on it and make sure that it's doing what I want it to do. And there's usually a bunch of things going on at once. And I think, hands down, it is the number one most fucking difficult genre to play. And if you play that, you are some type of like, your brain just works on a whole fucking different level. Absolutely.
Well,
I am terrified of RTSs. They are scary to me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my brain will explode I've tried. It just doesn't work.
Well, the success of Doom led them to a world led by the pen of Samwise Didier, who was the senior art designer for Blizzard, who got into his bag and created the first version, the very first, this one that starts it all, Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans.
Yep.
The first Blizzard release specifically from Blizzard and not licensed from another, like an Activision or something like that. It's their first actual general release. Mm-hmm. And if you are a company that is hemorrhaging, you're paying out of pocket, you're maxing out your credit cards, you're living dollar by dollar, and you put all of your chips at the center of a table for one game to get it off the ground. Please, mama needs a new pair of shoes. They needed a home run, and they fucking cleared the bases and got a grand slam. Warcraft, hugely successful. Out of the gate, their first one, which was funny to the creators because they were like, even the creators were like, oh, this is tip of the iceberg shit. Because we kept saying they didn't know what they were doing. They were just kind of winging things and figuring things out. I think the best explanation that one guy said, he goes, we weren't experienced, we didn't know what we were doing, and that was perfect for what we were trying to do because we were doing things experienced gamers would have never tried.
Yep. Someone made a comment, I think something, very similar to that, where it's like, if you were a experienced developer, you would have never done what we did because we accidentally fell into the shit we were doing because we didn't know what we were doing.
We didn't know, They didn't have to worry about barriers.
Experienced developers would avoid what we were doing.
Yeah. Well, they would have avoided it like the plague. They would have avoided it.
Yeah.
I
felt that in my bones. So can I say, I felt like, I don't know what happened to me as a child, but there is something engraved in me that just loves to do the things the hard way. Especially nowadays, games have the min-maxing, all figured out before the game even comes out. And I'll go see what the best builds are. And I'm like, okay, what can I do that's the opposite of this? What can I do that is proven to not work? Because I'm sure I can make it work.
No,
I never do. But something about me I just have to try. So when they said that, I'm like, dude, I felt that in my spirit, dude.
There's a long list of people like you out there. I don't know, like even simple shit you play arcade Street Fighter. Yo, who's the one character everybody hates? Oh, nobody likes Dalsim. I picked Dalsim. I want that guy. And it's just... There's always those people. Player? Yeah, who's the worst thing? Who's the worst thing? Who's the worst? What's the worst gun? What's the gun nobody likes? Oh, this gun sucks. I'm using that gun.
Exactly, dude. I don't know why. I wish I got joy just playing the meta. I don't.
I got introduced to a new word from my son. Maybe you've heard of it because it seems like that kind of behavior fits into this word. I've been seeing Alex listen to a lot of videos from players online who have been doing Nuzlocks.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the Nuzlocks?
Yeah.
Well, they do these self-imposed little challenges to try to do things. I'm like, that's insane. Because some of these people...
I believe, has kept Pokemon relevant.
Oh, yeah. A lot of those videos are, from the Pokemon world. I saw one, he showed me one the other day. It was Plants vs. Zombies. And this guy was like, well, I just completed this challenge, and I came up with a new one. Can I beat Plants vs. Zombies without killing a single zombie? I was like, what? What the fuck?
Real thing.
But
unironically, I've been watching this one video. He doesn't call it a Nuzlocke, but it's the same idea, where he's trying to be Final. I don't know if you remember anything about Final Fantasy X. but he's trying to beat Final Fantasy X without using any of the sphere grid. Like no, basically the part of the game that powers you up, that pretty much scales you with the difficulty of the game, he is avoid using it at all. So he's just going to use base stats of each character, and he has to come up with strategies to be able to capitalize and like win. So yeah, it's very popular, dude. People love making games harder.
Woohoo. So they were feeling themselves. They were in their bag. World of Warcraft, Orcs and Humans comes out. Then here comes Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness, and now we're rendering. Now we're doing 3D models. Now this designer is really in his fucking bag now. He's creating the armor and the boots, and it's a lot more lively in the game. They're killing it. All of a sudden they decide, you know what? We've got all this good fortune, all this good luck. Let's pivot. Out comes Diablo, the role player game. And you just explained to me now the difference in that, but watching the footage from Diablo, was that in your game set?
That's an ARPG.
ARPG?
That's an ARPG. It's not just an RPG, it's an ARPG.
What's an ARPG?
So it's an action role playing game.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
sense.
that one, whoo, that was the one. So I got into that one much later. I didn't know about those games. It wasn't until a buddy of mine who I was playing Final Fantasy 11 with, who told me, he's like, man, I miss Diablo 2. So at the time he was playing Diablo 2. Diablo 2. He was talking about Diablo 2. He said he missed Diablo 2 was one of the best childhood games, whatever. I said, I don't know what that is. I mean, obviously me growing up, I wouldn't have ever gotten a chance to play it. It's called Devil. Our mom wasn't buying us a game called Devil. So I was like, damn, dude, that sounds like he was explaining it to me, dude. You explain a game to me, well, dude. I get so excited. I was like, dude, that sounds so cool. It's like I don't have it, like I can't play it. This was before the Blizzard client, any of that, right? Yeah. He goes, hold on a second. So he just gets quiet for a little bit, and he's like, all right, dude, here. So he sent me a link, and he basically sent me a link to a torrent for Diablo 2 and the first Diablo. He said, if you're going to play Diablo 2, you got to beat Diablo 1 first. He played with me. We went through Diablo 1. Damn near a speed run. I got almost nothing out of it because I just ran around and clicked stuff. That was my first time ever playing something like that. And then we played Diablo 2. That's what he really wanted to get to. But I needed to play the first one to understand it, I guess. And we played Diablo 2. Man, damn, dude. How old was I? Shit. I had to have been like 17? 18-ish, give or take, around that time. Yeah, that was my first experience with that. And even then, for me, it wasn't like the most nostalgic thing in the world for me, thinking about it now. It was pretty fun, man. I can see why a lot of these older people who play like Diablo 4 and stuff get so pissed off, because it's just like, you'll never capture that ever again, the way that was, it was made.
The spirit of it.
It was just different. It's just different.
It was a different time.
People, like you said, it was so magical because they didn't know how to be optimal. So there was a charm to it that, like, hey, this shit's kind of broken, or this shit's a little weird, or this is a little glitchy, or look, I can go through the wall here when I probably shouldn't, right? Like,
yeah,
these things weren't flushed out as well. And one could argue that it's not so much today either, but like, it's under a certain microscope now than it was before. It's what gave the game's charm back in the day. And you'll just never get that stuff anymore, man. It's fucking sad to think about it, dude. It really is.
Well, once all these games started rolling out, and I think you just hit on it right now, and I guess I'll talk to you more about the specifics because you were experiencing this in real time. So you're better equipped to answer this question for me than I am. Let me put this candle back before I fucking break it. This was the first game in history that had a brand new problem. You see, when you get a bunch of people in the room who don't know what they're doing, they start making shit up on their own, customization left and right. Guess what? You get all new problems. So this was one of the first video games in history that was so successful we started getting server issues.
Mm-hmm.
We started getting chunky load times, spammy. We started getting glitches. We started getting timeouts on the system, and you had to, your game would either lock out or kick you out of a room or whatever the case. This is all new territory for video
But that
games.
was during World of Warcraft, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where we're heading to.
Okay.
Because after Diablo and after Warcraft, now we're leading into a whole new. What was it he was saying? Yeah, the MMORPG, massive multiplayer online role-playing game. I read it again. Fuck you. And now we're leading into a world where, I love the faces of everyone that was talking about the game, because they were like, this is happening all the time. This is a fantasy world that never comes to an end. You're gonna go to sleep, and when you wake up, the fucker is still gonna be there, right where you fucking left it, and the world has been running since you were asleep. Little inside baseball for you folks out there. This guy was so into these games that he would travel whenever he would visit someone, like come to my house or something. He would bring the mini TV with the system.
With the VCR.
With the VCR.
I was hooking up through a VCR.
And then would put it in the corner. Because he would bring it to keep an eye on it, essentially.
Yes.
He played it when everyone went to sleep or whenever he had spare time, but you hung out with the family. You did what you were supposed to do, but your character lived on.
Yeah, if something spawned, y'all had to wait.
Yeah.
If something popped, y'all had to wait for about 2 hours until I was done. Because I'm not about to miss, A, my points for going to the event, and B, I'm not going to lose my opportunity to spend points on a rare item because you motherfuckers want to hang out.
Yeah.
Ain't going to happen.
So he would bring his whole setup to other people's houses.
Yep.
Just to make sure he didn't miss anything. But that's just like an idea for those of you listening for that time period. Because were you the only one that you knew who did that? Who would bring their system with them? Or was that just a you thing?
I mean, my friends were, I guess, not really much older than me. I don't know. My friends were usually a little bit more older than me, so most of them had laptops and shit. So they would just take their laptops.
There you go.
So I want to say yes. Like, other people did that too. But I don't think they did what I did with the big, like, I had a big-ass TV.
Yeah, well, you needed
a big one.
Yeah,
like,
you needed to see it. You know what I'm saying?
I needed, with the PlayStation, and that was to New York. Anytime I went to Joe's house, that was regular. That was regular. I would constantly bring that stuff with me. Yeah, because of the in my memory, it's the original FOMO. Like, if you're not around, you're missing progression. You're missing, like I said, points. If you're in a group, if you're in an end game group, you're missing points. And every time you miss an event and someone else is there, when that rare item drops and you do not have enough points to bid on it, you ain't going to see that motherfucker for another 6 months.
Oh, my God, months.
So, bro, I was in a Japanese link show. So, a lot of my events at one time was at like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the morning. So what I would do is if I knew, that would be the only time that I would go to bed kind of early. If I knew that something was going to spawn at 5 in the morning my time, I would go to bed early and set my alarm for the window. So I'd get up at like 4 a.m. I'd try to get myself awake because I don't want to. If you're AFK when the monster spawns, you don't get points. So I can't fall asleep in case it spawns and I don't do anything. I won't get points for it. So then I would have to get up, help camp the mob, by the way, because sometimes we would camp multiple mobs at once. So I'd be the only person at a camp trying to get the spawn window or a timer on it. Dude, it was a job. It was like one of my first full-time jobs.
That's where you learned commitment.
Dude, good times, man.
As a final,
just thinking about it.
As a final point for this, we now know who to blame. We now know who to put the guilt on. We now know who to point to and say you are the one who fucked it up for everybody else. We're pointing at World of Warcraft fans because this was the first game who bucked tradition, who went against the grain, and invented the subscription model. This was where
they weren't the first.
Yeah, but
They
the
weren't
other ones
first.
didn't do
They
as well.
Revolutionized it.
Yes.
They revolutionized
It would have been dead in the ground had they not made it a successful form of payment. They decided to go with the subscription model.
Well, but that's what made it so bananas, because they were going to do that model based off the idea of who they thought were going to play the game.
Yeah, they
Because
guessed.
we're not going to survive off of box value doing this with the amount of sales we think we're going to do.
Right.
So they set it in place, they sell it. I don't even know what the number, quadruple, whatever the word would be for how many more people played to what they forecasted to be, which blew it out of the water, because now they have this structure. They could have easily done box value and been fine with how much that they sold, but there was no way for them to know that. So now not only do they have that income, the box value, but now they have subscription fees, because that was a fail-safe in case they didn't do too well. The little people that would, because you got to remember, the MMOs before them, like he said, what did he say? Like they'd have 150, 200, 300 people at a time playing. So now they're going like, okay, like if we're going to survive doing this, we need people to do a subscription fee. If we're looking at 150, 200 people we're going to be playing at one time. And then they hit multi-million people playing at one time, but they still had the 300 person structure. They weren't going to pull that back. That's all free money. It's crazy how it worked out, and they had no fucking clue the impact they had in the gaming world. Because they were saying, remember, they were out there calling each other to get to their nearest GameStop, because it was like, you have to see this. And they were like, who was it? The one guy, he had like that mole on his lip. He was like, he was going to the release, and he was fine until he hit the exit. And he's like, dude, what the fuck is this traffic? Like, where did this come from? Come to find out, it was to go to GameStop to buy their game. And they're just like, yo, what is happening? It's such a crazy moment, man. It'll never happen again. Makes me sad.
I will end it with the amazing addition when they were talking at the end of the episode about how deep into pop culture that game became. I love the fact that they included, let's do this, Leroy Jenkins. He went,
infamous.
Oh my God, he went inside. He went inside. 0.33, repeating, of course.
Yep.
One of the greatest fucking clips online with the remix and everything like that. They even helped revolutionize viral videos. How about that? Those motherfuckers did everything.
I mean, people don't even fucking know what a video game is. Knows Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins. Oh man! All right. We are going to be doing the last 2 episodes next week, the finale of our little game changer run. It's been real. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty, and we'll talk about what's going to be up for next week at the end of the episode. For right now, let's head over and get to segment number 3.
It's time for segment 3.
Yes, segment 3. We have that. No, I'm joking. We have a new member of the class of 2025, and I have been singing this motherfucker's theme has been in my head ever since they made the fucking announcement. For those of you who have not heard, the total package, Lex Luger, is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Color me stunned. Color me surprised. Not because he doesn't deserve it. The man is a former, multiple-time heavyweight champion, United States champion. He's had programs with some of the best wrestlers who have ever lived on planet Earth. He's been part of infamous tag teams like with Sting and, of course, Buff Bagwell. He has a laundry list, a resume that is no doubt one of the top sparkling resumes in the old school days, the Crockett promotional days of and even the Attitude Era days of professional wrestling, Lex Luger is a Hall of Fame in any Hall of Fame when it comes to pro wrestling around the world. That, to me, is not what makes this controversial. What makes this controversial is Lex Luger also has a habit of being at the exact wrong places at the wrong exact times. This man has a reputation. He's not always been a team player. He's not always been the nicest guy. As a matter of fact, there's been many a bridge burned over the years, not just with WWE, but with promoters around the country. This man has been persona non grata with the WWE for quite some time. Despite at one point, and this is a true story, they thought he was the next Hogan in WWE. Hogan had his run. We talked about this a little bit with the Stone Cold deal about baby faces running for so long that eventually shit changes on him. Hogan was at that point. He was starting to get booed. He was starting to get the tomatoes thrown at him. It was time to shake things up, and they had let Hogan go out of his contract. Hogan signed as a free agent to WCW. He was out of there, and WWE needed a new star, a new focal point. And despite having Bret Hart on the roster ready and raring to go, that's not the kind of guy that Vince McMahon pushes to the moon. He loves him some body guys. And there was no better body guy in the biz. I'm flexing. I can't even say his name without doing the double bicep. The total package, Lex Luger, came to America, to the WWE as a top flight superstar. I'm not going to lie. Now I am well versed of the career of Lex Luger. But I've told this story before that my experience with pro wrestling in the late 80s, they didn't have a weekly television show. They had Superstars on Sunday morning. They had the occasional Saturday night main event. They had occasional shows, specials here and there. And then, of course, they had big shows. But their big shows, they didn't have monthly pay-per-views like they have now. Mania in April, SummerSlam in August, Survivor Series in November, the Rumble in January. They were spaced out. So I wasn't getting a whole lot of wrestling at that time. But then in 1993, they began a weekly episodic television show on Mondays called Monday Night Raw. And this man, Lex Luger, became a really big part of that. And that actually is where I got my first taste of Luger. Luger was the guy on the Intrepid, on the big boat museum here in New York. They took Yokozuna, 600 pounds of champion. They sent him to the Intrepid. They had a body slam challenge. If anybody on that staff, if any military man, if any man in the world wants an opportunity to say that they could body slam the big 600-pound Yokozuna, they come to the Intrepid and find out. And that was the big moment. Here comes Lex Luger out of the car. Already no shirt. He came out of the car shirtless, ripped to the gills, oiled to perfection, ready for his moment. Comes into the ring, ducks a clothesline, picks him up, heaves for the body slam, boom, down to the mat. And this boy got up like he was just won the Stanley Cup. He's juking, he's jabbing, he's screaming at the top of his lungs, hits the second rope, double bicep for the world, and New York City goes crazy. And I was one of those kids. Not there, wasn't at the Intrepid, but I was watching at home, enjoying myself, watching the fat man go down. And that was my first experience of Luger. And then Luger was the guy with the American gear, that dope-ass theme. Bam, bam, bam. That shit was hot. I've been saying it all week ever since the Hall of Fame. I became a Luger guy, not going to lie. And him and Bret Hart, two top baby faces. Eventually, though, luck didn't run out. I didn't realize at the time that apparently in order for you to be a champion or to be pushed as the top individual, you at least have to take some bumps. And that was not his thing. He was hurt a lot when he was in the WWE. That was the one when we were kids, when we were in school, there was the rumor that was the, I don't know if you remember, you're probably too young, but there was a rumor going around back in school where Lex Luger had a metal plate in his forearm because he had a legit motorcycle accident. He had a car accident, I'll say car. It was a motorcycle accident, and he shattered his arm. And his arm was repaired like normal, but we're dumb, we're kids. So we're listening to the older kids and like, yeah, to repair his arm, they put a metal plate in his arm. And that's why one of his finishes, he'd come off the rope and he'd just fucking hit you with a forearm because it was a metal plate. And they started talking about it on TV. That's not fair, McMahon. He's got that augmentation on his arm. He's got the metal plate. All the doctors have cleared him. He's got that. He's cleared all kinds of shit. It was a great storyline. And he started smashing motherfuckers with forearms for a fucking finish. It was dope. And I really enjoyed him. And then he went back to WCW, which was his home. And he went on a run there, became champion again, and that's when he had the other theme. Straight porno music. I could see a motherfucker just getting into his stroke game to that song. Just putting it on this poor, unsuspecting lady. And especially when you call yourself the total package, you've got to have porn music. That goes without saying.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Chris Benoit's WCW theme was actually used in a porno. No joke. That's a truth. That's a real thing. Oh, wait, that wasn't Benoit. What did I say? Jericho? Yeah, Jericho. Stroking. It was an old porno, so they both got bush. So it's just.
They both cop, but I mean,
yeah. It was
makes
like
sense.
It was like porn uniform back then. You had to have pubes. So Luger has had quite the career. Now, what I mean by wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately, Luger has also made some very poor decisions. I've mentioned a few already so far. He wasn't always the nicest guy. He didn't always get along with people when it came down to being a team player and doing jobs or putting people over or whatever the case may be. This guy was very protective, and who blames him? You're a top guy, you protect your spot. But he didn't always have the business in his heart. But it's been well discussed that he was never really a wrestling fan. He was a football player. He was a football guy. If it wasn't for a career-ending injury, he never would have been in professional wrestling. So it wasn't really a business that he was like really in love with, really enamored with. It was something that he just kind of did to make money. But he fell in love over time. You know, it's like, you know.
He learned to love it.
He learned to love it because not only did he start making real money from it, but he was actually starting, in his own words, he was starting to make more friends in wrestling than he did in football. There was just something about that camaraderie. When you're in football, it's kind of a fraternity. It's a group, it's a brotherhood. You're in there and you're watching each other's asses, for real. And he got a chance to experience something like that again in wrestling. Because in wrestling, at that time, it used to be very protected. It's not protected now. Any jackass off the street can call themselves a pro wrestler now. But back in those days, it was protected. You had to go through channels to get into the business. And if you earned enough respect to do that, then, it was a great place to be. He was a pro football player, so he had to eat shit before he got in the club. You know, he had to pay his dues a little bit. So he was a little sour on that at the beginning, as most people are. Doesn't matter what your workforce is. As soon as you're told you have to earn your spot, you got a little bit of a pissy attitude. But once you earn that spot, it thumbs down a little bit. And that's kind of what happened to him. The reason why he was persona non grata, we'll talk about the elephant in the room, is the whole Miss Elizabeth situation. So the deal with that, obviously, everyone knows that Miss Elizabeth is more closely associated with the Macho Man here. The Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. That's the team of the late 80s here. And they were married in real life, was Macho Man and Elizabeth. But Macho Man very much was Macho Man behind the scenes as well as he was in the ring. And they had a very rocky relationship because he was just a very, very macho man. He was for real. That shit was real life. And he's not going to let, that's not his wife, that's his bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my bitch made waffles for me today. You know, what a lovely bitch she is. Yeah, that's a good bitch. Yeah, that's my bitch. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, listen. Can we be mad at,
can we be mad at
it? Like, you need to, like, if you don't know you're his bitch,
yeah,
then, like,
you said yes.
I don't really think you don't really know the guy. You know what I mean?
Did he really? I wonder if that's how he proposed. You know, Liz, I would like you to be my bitch forever. You're my bitch
No,
now, and you've
he's
been
not-
my
he's-
bitch always, but I want you
He's
to be
probably
my
the one
bitch.
that originated my main bitch. I
Yeah.
want you to be my main bitch.
I want you to be the main thing on my dingling, yeah. So I can imagine him and her getting into things. So eventually there was a divorce that led to a falling out. So he went one way, she went another, but she stayed somewhat in the business. So she started developing other relationships, and the last relationship that she had was with Luger, who at the time, if you can snort it and you can shoot it, he will partake. If you can shoot it, you can snort it, you can smoke it, you can drink it, he'll put it in. And she is the significant other, and most significant others don't want to bitch
Bobby
out.
and Whitney.
That's Bobby and Whitney, and it ended like Bobby and Whitney. They both did enough shit to pass out. He woke up, she didn't, and the 911 call, I believe, is still on YouTube. If you want to listen to it to yourself, folks. He's not used, but I said folks. For all the masochists out there that want to actually hear it,
Okay,
it's
fair
out.
enough.
It is out there of him being completely obliterated, and he's so confused and he's so scared. Just not breathing. Oh man, what am I supposed to do? It's like you gotta listen to it. It's fucking crazy. But when that shit happened, a lot of people within the business really held him responsible for that death. He's a 280-pound, muscle-bound grown man. She was a 110, 15-pound woman. And
Wait.
kudos to her if she's going pipe for pipe. I mean, if she's going rock for rock, I mean, that's just gangster. So she went out a warrior, I'm saying. But
I'm willing to die for
yeah,
this shit,
you're not going to bitch me out. I'm past that
Those
rock,
just
son.
show muscles, baby. I got heart.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. She had heart. She did. Yeah. And then no more heart. And she was gone, and a lot of that blame went to him. And there was a lot of burning of bridges at that point. There was a lot of people that were just like, cannot touch this guy. He is red flag city. And so he had a really hard time. And then he kind of hinted recently when the announcement of the Hall of Fame took place, he was kind of hinting a little bit about the story about his neck. So apparently, obviously, look at him. He's in the gym all the time. He was doing some sort of exercise or whatever, and he claims that after the exercise that he had done, there was some sort of, felt like a pulling or a tugging, something going on in his neck.
He tweaked his neck
a little bit and, felt a little off. And then he went to sleep later that night, like normal, and woke up, and he was suffering from a severe case of paralysis. And he's kind of been in the wheelchair ever since. And I can't imagine, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, it sounds terrifying on paper that you're a full-time athlete who looks like that. Like you're an athlete. And you wake up one morning and you can barely move your fucking body. And I can't imagine what kind of like, can you imagine waking up and that's what you discover? Like discovering, I can't move. What the fuck? Like, that just sounds fucking terrifying. And that's been his life for several years. He's currently working with DDP on his mobility. He can stand in the chair now. He hugged Cody in the video where they made the announcement that he was going in. And it was a whole deal. And he's appearing to be a lot more positive about, when karma strikes, you get humble real fucking quick, right? All of a sudden, you can't walk no more. You can't fight no more. You can't do shit no more. Dick don't work. All kinds of issues on the fucking table. Yeah, you start to be nicer to people, the thing starts to switch around. But I'll put it to you all as straight as I can. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any question of it. The man drew money. Just if you don't have him in your Hall of Fame, I really can't blame you because it's a personal choice. He's given enough reason for you to be like, no, fuck this guy. But if you're being realistic, yeah, he probably is a Hall of Famer. So I find it ironic that Luger and Triple H are going in the same class. The two bodybuilders, the two body guys getting in together. I can't wait to see who inducts Lex into the Hall of Fame. If I could make a pitch, one night only, I would love to see Sting do it. He's not contracted by anybody, legally speaking. He can do whatever he wants. For one night, for a Hall of Fame induction, I don't think that'd be too terrible. Triple H is going in, and they have not yet discussed who's going to be talking him in. I have a feeling they're going to make Steph do it.
I think she should.
I think she should. I mean, obviously, who knows better about everything that he's been going through? And I mean, she's really.
I don't know. Unless you know better than me. Like I said, I'm on record multiple times saying how much I love his story and the fact that he got shit on everybody. And I mean, again, you may know better than me, but I, as a casual fan, don't know who else was probably on his side as much as she was, and a part of his journey as much as she was. Again, you know more than me, so I don't know.
The only other person I would probably put in there is either Shawn or Vince. Vince is a no-go, and it would
probably be Shawn then, if anything.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's usually
dude,
I think it's between Shawn and Steph, but I'm still leaning Steph.
Yeah, I would lean to Steph because if I'm just guessing how much of a prick HBK was, I don't know. I would give the edge to Steph.
Yeah. Plus, I mean,
Shawn Michaels was. I don't perceive him as a very nice person. Like back in those days.
Yeah,
like
back in those days.
Yeah.
There's nothing to perceive. Even he says it. Wasn't the nicest guy.
So although they worked together, I can't imagine Shawn Michaels was the fucking nicest person that like.
No, but they're friends again now, so you never know. I still say Steph all the way through.
I say Steph, but that's just me.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, we're moving on to our next segment.
Segment 4 is finally here.
Segment 4 is indeed finally here, and we're back. Guess who's back? Back again. It's Ladies' Night. This right here, this segment, and our main event segment, all about the ladies, and it's back now. In 2018, I took my wife to a pay-per-view out in Long Island, Nassau Coliseum. As a matter of fact, I think it was the last time I was in the Nassau Coliseum. 2018, the first ever all-women's WWE pay-per-view Evolution. I even bought the shirt. I still have the shirt, actually. I wore it on Monday to work in spirit of the announcement that they're going to be doing another Evolution. Well, now they're not pay-per-views. Now they're PLEs. They're going to be doing another PLE for Evolution. And you know what? We are in another world. We are living in different times than we did in 2018 with the Evolution pay-per-view that they did. They were kind of stretching. They were trying to make it happen. And they did. I still say it was my favorite pay-per-view of that year. I think the ladies did a hell of a job that first time around. If I can remind you know how long ago that show was? The dark match for that pay-per-view. I don't think people remember, but I was in the building, so I remember. The dark match was Rhea Ripley and Dakota Kai. That was the dark match. The opening match, Trish Stratus and Lita against Mickie James and Alicia Fox. That was supposed to be a completely different match. That was supposed to be Mickie James and Alexa Bliss, but Bliss got hurt. Nia Jax won the 20-woman Battle Royal. Toni Storm, before she became timeless, defeated Io Shirai for the Mae Young Classic Tournament final match. Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya defeated the Riot Squad, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Shayna Baszler defeated Kairi Sane for the NXT Women's title. Becky Lynch retained the SmackDown Women's Championship in the last women's standing match against Charlotte Flair. And in the main event, for whatever reason, Ronda Rousey defeated Nikki Bella to retain her championship. I still to this day don't know why that happened, but it did. We're living in a whole new world now. And that PLE has a whole new meaning today. The Evolution pay-per-view, they are talking about setting the date. Looks like it's going to be July 5th. That's this July 5th in 2025 at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, which is still nearby. I told Steph, I said, hey, if you want to do it again, we could try
run it back.
Run it back. We're living in a whole new world. I've said it 3 times now. Let me tell you what I mean. I can already imagine in my head the possibilities are endless here. We have a lot of women now that I could book a strong card. Give me 7 or 8 matches solid for a fucking all women's pay-per-view.
That'd be their biggest pay-per-view.
You could do it. Yeah. I mean, you've got far more star power now than you did then in the women's, and they had some stars then. But look at the women that were on the undercard there. Toni Storm, no longer with it, but Io Shirai was new. That was like her first pay-per-view. That was the Mae Young Classic final. She is the current WWE World Women's Champion. She's out here slapping bitches last night. Slapping Rhea, slapping Bianca, and just giving these bitches what for. And we've got Bianca, Rhea, Nia's still here. Alexa's back. You've, of course, got some of the legends, but I can do without. I don't need any of the fucking legends on that card. Lyra is now the Intercontinental Champion. Chelsea Green is the United States Champion. We've got women's tag titles. We've got a plethora. Look at the NXT women's situation right now. Julia, Stephanie Vacour, Jada Parker, Lola Vice. We are fucking loaded on women's talent. You wouldn't need a Battle Royal. You wouldn't need legends. You don't need to bring Nikki back or Trish back. I get it. They paved the way, but they were on that first show. This is a whole new generation of women, man, and I'm ready. I kind of want to go. Plus, I've never been to Mohegan Sun. So, I want to go early so I can gamble first and then go in there and watch the women do their thing. So that's me.
You want to go in there under?
I want to listen. Not me, brother. Not me. I never go under. I either lose exactly what I spent, or I fucking made money. I never go under. I commit to it.
Blackjack?
I do a little blackjack. I like a little blackjack. A little. My main game, the one that I have the most fun. I'm not gonna front. I can be there for hours. Roulette table, baby. Put me on the roulette table. I fucking love that table. Stephanie loves the wheel, but not every casino has the wheel. That's like an AC thing, I think, to be honest with you, because we've tried other places and not everybody has that. But I'm a roulette person. I love it. Bet on black, baby. Unless the table's all red, don't feed into that. You gotta play the numbers, baby. Get the percentages, the ratios down. You gotta be smart. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, I'd love to go get my fucking gamble on and watch the women do their goddamn thing. So I'm excited to see what the possibility is of that. I'm excited I'm shocked that the rumors of the date are so soon. July of this year. I mean, we're already in March. So I'm like, are we building towards something? Are we going to have some major programs building up to that? Remember I told you when Bianca won the Chamber, I was like, oh, Rhea Ripley and Bianca, that's the fucking dream match they've been talking about for years. And for literally 24 hours, we had it. Until Io won the belt. Is it a possibility that the reason why they didn't pull the trigger at Mania for the two of them is because that's going to be one of the main event attractions for that PLE, for the Evolution show? Because I like that. I dig that. Title or no title, let's put these two in the fucking ring. I'm ready for it. The athleticism is going to be crazy. Look at what Bianca did with that tag match just the other week, and then look at what Rhea has done, getting into the ring with these randoms. They've been getting into the ring with these randoms and putting on. I want to see. I appreciate a good athlete who can get into the ring and do it with a broomstick, but I want to see two Goliaths. I want to see two supremely talented athletes doing the best that they could possibly fucking do and just ruining pro wrestling for everyone because no one can top it. No title, doesn't matter to me. That match is last. For fuck's sake. Oh, who was it? Bailey who made the comment the other day? Oh, we were just hoping and sitting around and waiting for somebody other than the four horsewomen to step up. Well, we got two of them. Back up, bitches. Let Rhea and Bianca drive the car. I'm ready for it. So you didn't get a chance to see. Did you ever see the first one, like on the network or something like that? Did you ever watch it at all?
I feel like I might have, but I honestly don't remember.
Yeah. So we definitely look out for that, please, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a huge fucking show. Ladies are going to do their thing. I'm all for it. But let's move on to our main event because it ties into Evolution. It ties into this. So let's get into our main event, and I'll explain more about what I'm talking about.
It is now time for our main event.
Our main event revolves around the triangle. We're talking about a little drama. I saw some memes concerning Triple H. They had Triple H behind a podium, and he was accepting a BET award for his work in producing great television for black culture. For those of you who have not been paying attention, Bianca Belair finds herself in a pickle.
In a fucking novella.
Yeah, essentially.
Acting her ass off, boy.
And we all saw the acting go into full gear because we saw her do the acting a little bit when Jay was originally hurt. When they saw the picture or the video of Jay being in the windshield, and she got, she's hurt, she's beat up, and, she's doing the sad, the screaming thing, oh my God, whatever. And you kind of get that situation, and then she didn't keep it up. She just went back to being regular Bianca, and she's doing her thing with Naomi. The chamber. That video was everywhere of her in the chamber, Bianca in the chamber. Here comes Jade. And she's talking shit. Oh, you thought, Liz. You thought, Liz. You thought. And then she turned and she fucking clocks Naomi. And she was like, Whoa! No! What are you doing? And she's hitting on the glass. Her being in the chamber for all that was fucking amazing. And I will give credit where credit is due. I think Liv helped that. Because Liv sold the entrance, the walk, and the entrance into the ring. Sold it beautifully. Again, this is coming from a Liv Morgan hater. I gotta give it to her. She sold that shit like she was gonna get a pow. You saw her hands go up. Don't hit me.
She sold that shit like she was in the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, word. She sold that shit, and then she too many pronouns, pal. Jade jumped on Naomi, and Bianca's just a mess. Right? And Jade basically kills this woman, slams the fucking gate on her, walks out. Naomi's a fucking mess on the goddamn ground. And Bianca's sitting there crying. She's emotional. And then here comes Liv to the cage. I told you it wasn't me. I told you it wasn't me. Bianca's like, shut up! Shut up! And she's going off. And then the match happens. We witness the match take place. She wins the chamber. So the conversation becomes, okay, is this an ongoing thing? Is this over now? What's the deal? Was this leading to this being just Jade and Naomi because now Bianca's got the title match? Oh no, my friend. We're just beginning. Because here we go on SmackDown. And Bianca comes out there and basically says, I should be over the moon. I should be excited as all hell. I'm going to WrestleMania, but I got this thing hanging over my head. And Bianca calls out Naomi, says, I just got to ask the question up front. She comes out, and this conversation that Bianca and Naomi had, I knew that this was working because my wife
she got locked in?
Was locked the fuck in because Naomi was doing all the things that you would do when
you're trying to avoid the question.
you in the wrong. So you just talking about everything
Filibuster.
but the fucking question that's being asked. So Bianca's asking her, did you do this? Did you do that? And she's like, all these people talking and trying to get inside your head. And my wife is sitting there going, bitch, that's not what she asked you. And then Bianca goes, no, Naomi, just stop. Just stop. You're not answering the question. And my wife goes, why does she keep saying stop? I said, because she ain't stopping. She keeps with the bullshit. And the whole room, the vibe was just pissed off at Naomi. She was like, yo, this bitch is crazy. Did you do this shit or not? Everybody in the room was just, did you do this shit or not? Answer the fucking question. And then at one point, they like talking over each other. They're like going back and forth. And my wife goes, this is getting fucking insane. Because she just answered the question. My wife is locked the fuck in, bro. Locked the fuck in. It's working. It's working. It's the right amount of soap opera. Because it felt like two people who were trying to have a conversation. And you know when people are talking to you and your emotions can sometimes stop you from seeing what's really happening. But when you watch someone else have that conversation, you can catch the bullshit way faster than if they would be talking to you. My wife is watching this going, she's gaslighting the fuck out of you right now. Just get this fucking bitch to answer the question. So Bianca finally has enough. Enough, stop. It's a simple yes or no. Did you do it? And then Naomi took what felt like 3 weeks to sit there and actually answer the question. And my wife is getting fucking pissed. Open your mouth, bitch. Yes or no. And she's locked way the fuck in. And then she goes, yeah, I did it. And the whole room, you see. And then they're still going back and forth. And then Bianca tells Jade, you know what? This is over. Forget it. We're done. I want nothing to do with you. It's over. And she walks out of the ring, and you can hear Naomi's voice breaking. Don't leave. Just talk to me, B. Just talk to me, B. And my wife is on the couch, just fuck you, bitch. Don't leave Bianca alone. God damn it. She's totally wrapped up. I'm totally wrapped up. This shit is hilarious. And then she hit it with the line at the end. You ungrateful bitch. My wife had just about hopped off the fucking couch. It looked like she was about to punch my TV, bro. And that's when Jade's car shows up on the screen. She comes out. She walks out through the curtain. They share a nod.
No. Don't skip past that. First of all, real quick, I'm just gonna stop you right there.
Go ahead.
First of all, I wanna make mention. I know this doesn't need to be said, but God has created Jade's body to wear clothes. Anything this woman puts on, I swear looks different on her than any other human in the whole fucking world. I just want to say that.
She's just built different.
She went out there looking like a glass of milk. She looked great out there. When she walks out, this is why I hope when she actually gets in the ring and they tell the story in the ring, it translates. Because what they're doing right now, Jade looks like I'm not gonna say super top tier, but she's up there right now. She's doing what she's supposed to do in the WWE, and that's tell a story. And she's doing it as a powerhouse, which is her whole thing.
Yeah.
And when she came out, she walked straight out business. She looked straight to the ring, and she looked at Bianca for permission.
Yeah.
And she looked at her, and Bianca was like, hey, listen.
Do what you got to do, son.
Do what you got to do,
Do what you got to do,
and
son.
She turned around and went straight to work. And I just loved that transaction between two. Like, hey, listen. It's like they're telling us. Look, I hated the group. Overall, I just wanted Bianca to be free. But it has gotten to the point where now it really does feel like you're looking at three friends beefing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is what it feels like real life friends beef looks like, where it's just like, dude, I'm going to fuck him up. And you're just like, look, dude, I'm not going to stop. I've been trying to stop this. They keep popping off. Y'all do what y'all got to do. I'm out. I'm out of this. Y'all
Now,
do what you gotta do.
Here's
That's what it felt like. That's what that nod felt like to me.
Here's what I forgot. It wasn't until the segment was just about over. I think Jade hit her with the move, and then she's like taunting over her or something. I forgot
this.
This.
My block. You got to check in.
Yeah,
That's what she
we got to check in, son. You checking in? You got that permission slip, homie?
Yeah, it's my block.
I just remembered when not just now, but when I watched the episode at WrestleMania this year, when you and I were in the building, that semi-main event was the three of them together. It was Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. Remember?
Yeah. Because I was robbed of Bianca's entrance.
Yeah, it was against Damage Control.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you could really full circle this bitch leading up to this WrestleMania. You can go back to that time when all three of them were on the same page. And then the slide out for the team to become tag team champions, and then the car, and then Naomi becomes tag team champions, and then the whole... You could do a year's worth of a package to really tell the story of how these individuals came together. And if you're going to leave Bianca where she is and just let the two friends fight, I wouldn't be against it. But there's a hardcore rumor that Bianca's got more to do with this than people think. And there's another layer that you could add to this that would make it even more interesting. I'm not entirely sure super babyface Jade is the way to go, but at this point, based on the way that everything's playing out, I guess at this point I'm willing to try.
I don't think heel is the way to go. I think face is the perfect way to go
for Jade. I mean, excuse me.
Jade, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
For Jade, because the other two, like if they decide to do a weird turn where Bianca turns on her as well, like she knew all along, it was all like if that's the play they want to go, that's fine. You allow Naomi and Bianca to do the heavy lifting, which again, Operation Jade is just get the girl, expedite her experience. All this has been is expedite her exposure. She's got the look, she's got the physique, and I think she can perform. She's just a little green and sloppy. Like her matches go great until she botches, and then you kind of like see it. You know what I mean? So if they can just clean her up, buy her time for the payout when she's ready. And I can already tell you from AEW to today, she still has work to do, but she is fucking miles ahead of where she was when she fucking first got here. So they need to keep cooking with this. Naomi going heel, cussing everybody else, saying you all on my ass. Every time I try to come out here, you guys are all like against me and shit. Like, I love that. Let's see. That's what I want to get out of the women's division. And the one person that has kind of been doing it a little bit until she kind of baby-faced was, damn it. God damn it. I hate when my brain fucking turns off at names. Rhea.
Yeah.
Rhea was who would do it very, very, very well. But I am very sick, and they need to kind of somewhat remove this at some level from the women's division of this camaraderie bullshit. Like, I need competition.
Yeah.
I want somebody to come in here and go, no, fuck you. I'm the best. You all fucking like. We need real villains in the women's division. I don't think we have it.
Yeah.
And Rhea was the closest until now she's over, and it's like, okay, we love Rhea. Like, it's kind of hard to pull.
She
her
was
that
so
way.
bad it was good.
And when she was doing the whole thing with the group she was in for that little bit of time, and then they all just kind of turned. The whole group ended up turning face because of how popular they were getting.
Let me ask you a question. Is Naomi the heel we don't know that we need yet?
I think Naomi is the heel that she doesn't know she needs. She needs a new
she needs a facelift,
of paint. She needs a new coat of paint, and I think she showed a glimpse. It's hard. A 1-2 minute segment of turning is very easy to do. Going there and shooting a whole heel promo is very difficult.
Or at the very least, committing a heel act, because we didn't see her attack Jade. We
ran from her.
Yeah, so far, the contest has been Jade's dominance all the way through. We haven't actually seen Naomi be a heel yet.
But hold on. I don't think Naomi has dominated.
I'm not saying she should either. I'm saying I'd like to see some heel activity from her.
Yes, I would actually. I'm going to lean into that and say that I don't even mind if Naomi keeps getting her ass beat as long as she just keeps being annoying. Like, be annoying. Like like one of those, those annoying kids when you grew up that would you beat the fuck out of them and they would just keep talking shit. They just won't shut up and they just annoy the shit out of you. That's what she needs to be. Let Jade beat on her, but keep coming back and keep talking shit and sabotaging her and just being a fucking pest and annoyance and like, fuck you, you don't deserve this, bitch. You've been carried this whole time. Like, keep that shit up. And I think this would actually be really good for all three of them, to be honest with you.
Well, we were just saying a second ago about the Evolution pay-per-view. Excuse me. Oh, my God. I have got to retrain this brain.
What?
The Evolution...
Why can't it just be boomers?
I am not a boomer. I'm not that old. With the Evolution PLE coming up, I think one of the main differences that could come from this show as opposed to the first is something like this. That first show was more of an exhibition of things. Becky and Charlotte have a history, but they weren't really feuding at the time. It was just an easy match to make up. Ronda and Nikki being in the main event didn't have any real heat to it. Toni Storm's match was a final classic final. Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane, that was a title match. They made a card out of that, but one of the things that I think the women are doing better now than they did back then is the storytelling aspect. Even in NXT, they did a really good job with the Jada Parker Lola Vice feud. Right now, the two best wrestlers on the roster, Stephanie Vacour and Julia, just main event at Roadblock. I don't know the results yet. I haven't had a chance to check it, but they went title for title. So somewhere right now was an NXT women with two belts. That kind of a program, that kind of a feud, that kind of storytelling is something the first Evolution, I was going to do it again, PLE, didn't have, that I think would be interesting for this new show, because this new show would have way more developed and way more polished talents of today. They don't have to bring up Medusa. They don't have to bring in Trish. They don't have to bring in Lita. They don't have to bring in these older names to get that show over. They have enough talent today. I know they're going
to, but I really hope they don't.
If they do, I hope they don't overdo it, where I need to see it for the whole goddamn show.
And I like the storytelling, and I hope they develop one or two stories. But I really want, especially right now, based on the quality that we have as far as wrestlers and the people that could use this exposure right now, I really kind of hope they just have a few really good exhibitions. Like, give me some exhibitions woven into my story. For this particular paper, because I think there are a few women that I don't necessarily think, not that they wouldn't be good at a story, but like, don't give me a story just to give me a story, just to give me one match. It's okay to give me an exhibition. It's okay to take two mid cards who like coming up call ups from NXT or whatever the case may be, whatever from your roster, and like, okay, who is going to get good exposure from this, and who can exercise their chops in front of a big crowd and try to tell a story in a match or something like that, or have a good match, kind of like have a good showing here and work. Just send some people in. There you go. Send some people in there to work. A few matches of working and then a few matches of storytelling, and I think this is perfect.
Okay. The Evolution pay-per-view, like I said, they're looking at July in the Mohegan Sun. I know that if I had it up to me, I would be there. July 5th, one day after July 4th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I've got the my dates correct here. Pull up the old calendar. And that is going to be July 5th is a Saturday. July 4th is going to be that's going to be dope. July 4th lands on a Friday this year. That's a 3-day weekend if I've ever fucking seen one in my entire life. I can't wait. Someone's headed to Connecticut. That'll be me. Yep. I know my son's going to enjoy. My son loves going to Connecticut because we always wind up at a hotel, and he likes hotels.
Hotels are fun, man. I miss being in a hotel.
Huge on them. He loves them. He's kind of slowly becoming a hotel snob. That's my fault. That's my fault.
Dream big, baby.
He has seen some really cool hotels with the built-in pools, and some of them have like slides. Like he has seen some really fucking cool hotels. So, we went to one in Boston, and we went to the hotel, and he went, "No, I don't think we should do this one again." And then there's one in Myrtle Beach. He's begging us to go back to. Begging us.
I'm afraid one day I'm gonna check a review from a hotel and it's gonna be Alex. Unsatisfactory.
Unsatisfactory. Yeah, he really is. He's becoming that kind of fucking guy. I'm telling you. L.A. He was happy. He was happy with both. Actually, he was more happy with San Diego than he was Los Angeles. But it is what it is. Like I said, next week is the finale of our Game Changer experience. I hope you've been having fun with the Game Changer stuff. I've been having fun with the Game Changer stuff. It's been good,
yeah.
So we're ending it with competition, as my brother said he wanted. You wanted competition, where we get competition next week. Game Changers Episode 7, Sega 6, Nintendo. It's the war of all wars in the video game industry. And our last episode, Minecraft Builds an Empire. I cannot wait. My wife wants Alex to do that episode with us. Maybe not the whole episode, but that part, because he loves that.
He's the Minecraft guy.
He's the Minecraft guy.
Get an expert on the scene.
Get an expert on the panel, exactly. So I think that would be fun. I'll see what he wants to do. At the very least, we'll film that one with him, and then we'll do the rest of the stuff. But he wants to, I think he wants to chime in on the Minecraft stuff. But that'll be for next week. We are getting ever so close, by the way. Let me pull the schedule back up here. Really quickly, before we go, I told the story on the show, Bingo Loco. I won the free trip from Bingo Loco. And I told people, hey, if they reach out to me, it's cool. If they don't reach out to me, whatever, right? I didn't lose anything. I still had a great time. They reached out. They sent me a Google form that I had to fill out with information, like my name and the way that it's written on my ID, so that they can put the stuff in my name and stuff like that. If I'm bringing a passenger with me, which I obviously am, I can't afford to buy pussy at Vegas, so I'm going to bring some with me. And...
Sure.
We're going to go to Vegas. The only thing is that we don't know the date yet, because they have to put us in the system. So I think it's a good sign they already reached out. They took my information down. They said They
didn't bullshit you?
No, they didn't bullshit me. They told me it would take a few weeks, and I got contacted this week.
It's been about a few weeks.
It's been about 2 or 3 weeks. And then the email, when I completed their form, they said to give them another week or so to get everything in order, and then I'll get to pick a date. So they're not gonna send me a date. They're gonna give me.
Is it gonna happen?
They're gonna give me a list of dates, and I'm gonna pick the one that I want. The only thing that makes me nervous is I hope they don't pick a weekday, because I'm like, fuck, I can't take off of work to go to fucking Vegas. But anyway, we'll figure it out. I'll keep you guys abreast of the situation. Also, WrestleMania is the 19th and the 20th. I gotta do a roundtable, so we gotta settle on a date. I don't know what kind of days you have available. So
we'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out. Just throwing that out there that I want to do the round table. I have had a few faces step up saying they want to be a new voice, but then again, it's WrestleMania.
Yeah. We'll see.
It's WrestleMania, and my team, my WrestleMania team, the one that I love using the most, have already expressed to me they are ready and raring to go. So I think I would feel a lot less pissy about people trying to be on the show if I had my team in place.
If you don't fucking send an invite to Joe first, I'm cussing you out.
Well, first of all, Joe already spoke to me when I was in his house. He's in. But
no, I don't care what that was. I'm telling you that if he didn't get an invite because you're trying to switch it up, that dude has earned a perma spot on them tables if he wants it, man.
He's
always there clutching.
He sent me the hot tag gif. He wants in. But he's
got my vote every single fucking time.
But the ultimate surprise is the man has come. He's back on the grid. He's been off grid for a while, but he's back on the grid. He's back in good spirits, and he wants in. I don't want to put the carriage before the horse. But I think we may be experiencing Stephen James one more time on this show. So,
oh my gosh, I'll lose it.
I'll lose my mind. That's the all-star team. That's the A string. That's the starters. If I can get my starters back together for one mega event, then I don't care who the extra is. So y'all can cancel all y'all want as long as I've got my squad. I'm straight. So Y'all got to tune in for this roundtable. It's going to be absolutely insane. I also have some new expenses with the classes and stuff, but before the classes got started, I actually invested in some new stuff I also got coming in. Those little sweet, little tweet. Keep that one to the birdies. I'll update you guys some more. So anyway, let's get the fuck out of here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing it. Of course, thank you guys for enjoying episode 298. I have been keeping amazing track, so enjoy. Guys, see you next week.
Mic drop. Wait a minute. This is too much. Cooking it like a pro. Wrap it up, everybody. Show's over.